Hello guys, in today's video I'm gonna show you how to calculate quotient and remainder. Also, I'm going to discuss of how we can do this in using a selected 3 possible methods. So first method is by using arithmetic operators. We have here a variable q in which we assign to get the quotient of 5 divided by 2. This is the basic method of getting the quotient because of the slash operator. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Since we declare our variable as an integer data type, we only get the integral value of 2. Next, we use a variable r to extract the remainder by using the modulus operator. Obviously, the result is 1. Now we call a function to print these two data. So this must be the output. And then let's try to run it on our compiler. So let's try running this program. 5 divided by 2, quotient is 2 and the remainder is 1. So next, in second method, we can get the quotient and remainder by using loop statement. We have here a piece of code in which we can get the quotient and its remainder. Here we declare variable q, r, and I, and we initialize our variable q by 0 and our I by 5. While the value of our I is greater than 2, to proceed in this statement, first we increase our q value by 1, and then we subtract the value of our I by 2. Whatever the value of this expression will now store to r, and then we decrease our I value by 2. To understand, I provided some quick simulation here. While the value of our I is 5, while 5 is greater than 2, proceed to this statement. Since we increase our q by 1, our q value now has a 1 value. And then for our r, we subtract whatever the value of I into 2. So the value of our r in the first loop is 3, because 5 minus 2 is 3. And then we subtract again the value of our I by 2. So 5 minus 2 is 3. Then for the second loop, the value of our I is now 3. So it checks the condition if the I is greater than 2 or the 3 is greater than 2. It is true, then proceed in the statement. So we increase again the value of our q, and we have now q equals 2. and then we subtract the value of our I by 2. So 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. And again we subtract the value of our I by 2. So our I now is 1. And then it loops. The value of our I is now 1. So it checks the condition is 1 greater than or equal to 2. So the answer is false, so except in this statement. We have the value of Q is equals to 2 and our R is 1. And then we print these two data. Our quotient is 2 and our remainder is 1. So this is the output. So let's try to create a program with this while statement. This program shows the same output without the use of slash and modulus operator. In our third method, we are going to get the quotient and remainder using recursive function. This method is very complicated and not advised for beginners. But if you understand the recursive function, then it will be easy. We have here the recursive fun in our main function. In our main function, we are just calling our recursive function and passing arguments or parameters. After calling, our fun function will now perform and receive the arguments. Inside of this function is our base case and the recursive procedure. If the value of A is greater than B, then return A value to the caller. If this condition is false, proceed to the recursive procedure. We increase the value of our Q by 1. Note that we declare our Q variable as a global variable, so that it is easy for us to access this variable. Then, we call our fun function to perform a recursive process. As I tell you, this method is very complicated, but we try to simulate this line by line. After calling our fun function, it will now perform. In our function, we receive our arguments 5 and 2. Use the value of A, 5, and 2 is in B. So perform the statement inside this function. So we check the condition if our A is less than B. So we have 5 is less than 2, so this is false, and perform to this statement. We increase the value of our Q from 0 to 1. And then we return our function, meaning we are calling our function back with the arguments of a minus b, or 5 minus 2, which is 3, and the value of b is 2. After calling this, it will now form. Now, the value of our a is now 3, and our b is 2. So it checks the condition whether 3 is less than 2. So this is false. And now perform this statement, which will increase the q by 1. The value of our q is 1, so increase by 1, that will be 2. Call again the function with the arguments of a minus b. So 3 minus 2, that is 1, and our b value is 2. So note that we have the value of q of 2, the value of our a is 1. Since we call our function, it will now perform. The value of our a is 1, and our b is 2. So it checks the condition whether a is less than b or 1 is less than 2. Since 1 is less than 2, then we have to return the value of a. So the value of a is 1, and we are returning this to our main function. And the value of a will now store to the remainder variable. So our remainder is equal to 1. So we have the value of q is equal to 2, and our remainder is 1. And then in our main function, we are going to print these two data, and this will be the output. And now let's create a program applying this recursive function.
NANI?!
In this method, it also gives us the same output in getting the quotient and remainder. And that's it for the 3 methods of getting the quotient and remainder. Please consider to like and subscribe for more tutorials. Thanks.